Welcome back, everyone. It's Draskell here, doing another replay analysis. Today's subject, time management, and what it means from a core role, at least in this game. I know I've done an Anti-Mage guide already, so you guys, if you've watched that video, you'll probably have a good idea of what's already happening. But what I wanted to talk about is how quickly I can farm things and why I'm able to get higher GPM than, you know, a lot of the other ranks. Because say you're like a legend or maybe even like ancient or something like that, you might not be able to hit the same GPM numbers as higher level players. And it's kind of hard because when you watch a replay of a high level player, you can watch what they're doing, but you might not understand everything. So what I'm going to try to do in this replay is more or less just gloss over it. I'm not going to go nearly as in-depth as I normally do, but what I'm going to try to explain is how to most effectively use your time and how I make my decisions on where I want to be, so that way I can always maximize my farm. And the reason I choose this replay, it's a different game than the one before, so don't worry, you're not going to get a repeat. I use this replay because I had a very strong early game, and then because of my early game, I was able to maximize my efficiency on the map, and I was able to do things that if you have a good lane on any core, you can pretty much do the same stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And as I already said, you know, obviously this game went really well for me. I had a strong lane. When you have a good start on a hero like Anti-Mage, a hero who's mobile, a hero who is, you know, pretty hard to gank for the most part, you can really play greedy and push the side lanes to their utmost, right? Force enemy team to react, do a bunch of stuff that they don't really want to do. So we're chilling, waiting for the bounty rune. We're actually going to go a bit faster here. I don't really want to talk a whole heck of a lot about the laning phase, even though I do pretty well in the laning phase here. We're against a Darkseer and a Rikimara, which is not a particularly hard lane. I also had an Undying with me, so this makes the laning phase quite easy. All I have to do is make sure that I keep my health at a relatively high threshold. They don't have a stun, so I'm not really worried about dying or anything like that. I'm just going to chill here. Just going to hit my creeps. Nothing crazy. But the main idea of time management is that it's very hard to keep track of it when you're actually in the game. But if you look at like your CS, your levels, your overall net worth in a replay of your own, you'll notice that there will be times where you kind of just like plateau and nothing's happening. And what we want to try to do, at least in this replay, is try to get that plateau to disappear. Like, always be scaling in some way. Always be doing something. Like, obviously the laning phase we're not talking about a whole lot because the laning phase is, for this type of video, straightforward. Our only goal here is to hit creeps and get denies. So, like, I'm just denying everything I can from the Darkseer. Just continually controlling the lane, trying not to give them levels. And you can see the Darkseer right now has 3 creep kills. So regardless of how many times, you know, he's ion shelling those creeps, I'm just hitting the denies because he's not coming up to contest the wave, and that's why he's having such a hard time. Also, another thing about just overall efficiency as any hero right now, please do not be afraid to send out regen. I see so many people at every single bracket who just, they don't buy stick, they don't buy regen, they don't get themselves a salve when they're sitting at 20 HP, they will walk back to base. If you guys aren't already aware, this patch is very much so about the laning phase. And the laning phase, denies are very important, because not only do they give you experience, but they take away a tremendous amount of experience from the enemy. So if you have to go back to base, and someone who's a relatively talented player is going to deny a bunch of creeps, you're going to miss out on the EXP, you're going to miss out on the gold, and you're going to come back, but you're still going to be kind of behind, because you missed out on all that EXP and gold, right? So by ferrying out the regen, what we're allowing ourselves to do is eliminate the walking back to base portion of the game. So the first thing that I actually want to mention, as we're kind of getting towards the end of the laning phase right here, and you guys can see that, you know, we've already more or less established our dominance, is that I'm no longer controlling the creep wave, okay? I got treads, I got my perseverance, I'm level 7. This is a good point to where I can start really maximizing my efficiency, and the best way for me to do that is to push the wave, by auto-attacking. I'm going to go to the large camp and I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to rotate in a manner that not only allows me to kill the large camp, but it's going to put me in a really good position to get the bounty runes. So, it's 9 minutes and 43 seconds. I want to kill this creep. I want to rotate over to the large camp. And then I'm going to go to the bounty runes. So we get our creep here. Honestly, even just looking at it now, I should have stacked this. I think in the moment I was debating if I wanted to stack it or not. But it looks like I'll get the kill anyway. And this is a nice another efficiency play. So, I aggressively blink to the opposite side of the map. Now, why would I do this? Well, the main reason is that I know it's Ricky and Darkseer. I'm not particularly scared of them killing me. Because they don't have a stun, right? Like, what's the worst thing that happens? He puts an Ion Shell on, and I get clouded. So if that happens, I just walk away. Like, they're not going to kill me. There's no way they can kill me. So I go to their bounty room first, knowing that there's a low chance that I can die. And if I get lucky, no one's here. Which means not only do I get their bounty rune, but I'm going to be able to walk back to mine and get that one too. And that's efficiency, right? Low risk, high reward. So I get my bounty rune. I'm going to walk back for theirs. And the Ricky went for the top rune and got a haste. And oh, hey, look, the first thing that he did was he checked his own bounty rune. And it wasn't there anymore because I went to his first. Now, let's say I went to mine. And I took mine first and then tried to blink. The Ricky with the haste probably would have gotten the bounty rune before I was there. Which means I just gave my team, whatever the 10-minute bounty rune is worth of gold. I think it's like 200, 250 or something like that. So I just gave my team 250 net worth by just blinking to their rune first. And that's literally a decision that took me 1 second. Like, it's almost... There's nothing I have to put, like, effort-wise forth into that. I just made the choice. So, efficiency. It's good. So again, we're pushing the wave. We're farming the neutrals as soon as the wave is pushed. We got a cart now. We're still continuing to push the wave. We're just autoing everything down. I probably could have stayed for one more wave in the lane. I think I ended up missing one melee creep for that. And the camp didn't get stacked. So already, something we can do better. We could have stacked that large camp again. And that camp would have been up right now at the 11-minute mark. So I wasn't paying attention and I didn't stack that. So we already actually missed out on efficiency. So this guy's going to double shell the wave. We're going to go for the range creep first. He's pushing it out pretty hard. But our goal remains the same. As long as we're auto-attacking, we're basically like... That is about the most maximum efficiency you can get when you're in the lane. Is like, at least from a farming perspective, is just auto-attacking the creeps. You don't want to do it super early. But in this type of game, you want to do it because we're already so far ahead. Now, if you're having a rough game... maybe for you, it would be better to just try to control the wave more and not go for the jungle creeps because you want to stay safe. But since I was feeling super, super far ahead and I was feeling confident, I'm just pushing all the time, right? Now, this is actually a mistake on my part. I TP'd because my team got into a fight, but I felt strong enough to where I could contribute. Mistake. I deviated from my own normal game plan on Anti-Mage, which is don't even look at your teammates. Because honestly, for an Anti-Mage game, most of the time, they don't matter. All the things that matter in the game are like my item timings, and that's it. So we didn't stack a camp already. We TP'd when we didn't need to. Two pretty big mistakes. I'm going to ferry out some clarities. Any hero that relies on using mana to farm should do this. If you're not using clarities, you're not farming efficiently, and that's the end of the statement. You could be a Lina, you could be an Anti-Mage. Doesn't matter. If you have to use mana to get around the map or hit creeps with mana, you need clarities. Do not go back to base. Going back to base is the enemy. So we TP top here. We get a nice little easy kill. Fortunately for me, the lane was already pushed in. So, because of that, I get a wave and a Darkseer kill. I was thinking about going for that lion, but my mana void's down, so I don't really want to waste the time. Still feeling pretty strong. Running away from the heroes that I scouted with the ward. Now, I'm not really looking to fight right now. I TP'd once mid because I saw an opportunity for maybe an easy mana void kill. But you notice how they moved to the top lane. I don't have a TP right now. I think I'm sending him out right now. But I didn't have a TP, so I walked across the map. I ferry out my Yasha. And I walked to the lane with a TP and very quickly realized I don't want to be in this guy's lane. If he's going to push the wave to the tower, I'll take it. But I don't actually want to be where the Terrorblade is because Reflection is very annoying for my hero. So we're waiting a few seconds for the creeps to respawn. Still playing it fairly conservative, farming my my Dire Triangle here. And again, we're not using our teleport scroll. We're just moving around the map. We TP because we think a fight's happening, quickly realize it's not worth a TP and just cancel. But now our TP's on cooldown, so we want to play it safe. Gonna kill this camp before the respawn. Gonna blink mid to make sure that we get the wave that's gonna be hitting at the 18-minute mark. And really not much has happened since the laning phase. I got a couple of kills. Nothing crazy. I can still see a lot of heroes top. I'm not really interested in fighting. I'm just trying to work my way towards the Manta style. And I'm going to make my way bottom so that I can clear out the wave that's been pushed by the Terrorblade. Alright, so the enemy team is like overextending super far. And I make the judgment call that because they are pushing so far, that I'm going to go back and I'm going to kill them. Yeah, I blocked my camp there too, which was not good. So I've already made like 3 pretty big mistakes. 2 stacks that I missed. TPing when I didn't need to. Actually 4 if you count the TP scroll that I used that I didn't have to use. So that's already 4 things that I could do better. We saw the Riki up here. Lots of heroes from the Radiant team in the top lane still, but you know, the nice thing is now that I have my Manta, I'm not really feeling as scared, right? So this guy gets Meteor Hammered. I blink in, get the nice little Mana Void there. And then I'm just out, you know? I've used my Mana Void. I use my Manta style. I really do not want to take any risk at all, because I know that I can win the game for my team as long as I'm hitting my timings. And right now, my next timing is getting that Abyssal Blade. So the enemy team sends 5 heroes top. They fully commit to a fight, and as soon as I realize that, I start going for the aggressive play. Now they lost their Terrorblade, their Riki, and the Ember. So I'm just playing this full-out aggro. A Lion and a Darkseer can't really kill me. I probably could have gotten a bit of damage on the tier 3 right there, but rather than do that, I'm just going to take their Ancient Camp away from them. But the one theme about this game is that I'm always doing something. I'm hitting a neutral creep, I'm hitting a lane creep, I'm TPing to defend a gank if I feel like they've overextended. There's never a point in the game where I have gone back to base, and it's been 22 minutes. I have not gone to the base a single time. This is one of the biggest rules in time management, is that the more you go to base, the more you are losing out on. That's one of the few times this game you're going to see me TP like that, is when I'm on the enemy side of the map, and they've all just respawned. So I TP up there. Actually, we'll pause for a second. We'll rewind so you guys can understand why I TP'd the way that I did. So if we look at this situation here, right? So there's a fight happening mid. But everyone else is off the map. And I'm at a tier 2, right? So given the state of the game, like I knew this guy had Blink. So I don't want to show in a lane by myself when I know that this guy has Blink Dagger, because that can actually end up killing me. So this is one of the few times I will TP across the map to farm, because no one's going to be able to touch this. We have 2 people dead, and the other 2 people that are alive on my team are both supports. I don't want them occupying the lane. I want to occupy the lane. You can see right now, like, my farm is pretty good, right? Basher, Manta, Battle Fury, Treads, 22 minutes. Haven't gone back to base a single time. Whenever I need mana, I ferry a Clarity. If I need health, I'm going to get a Salve or I'm going to get Tangos. I want to spend as little time in the base as humanly possible. And between the time that I kill one wave, I go into the jungle, I kill another wave, or I guess a neutral camp, and then I go back, blink into the lane for the next wave that's coming up. Now, if you don't know the wave timings, they spawn every 30 seconds. And they're going to walk past the same points in the map every single time in the game at the same time. So if you understand the timings of where they're going to be and when, you can kill a camp, go to lane, kill the wave, go to the jungle, kill a camp, go to the lane, kill a wave, right? Much more efficient than just sitting in a lane and waiting for the next creep wave to come your way. So right now we're at 16k net worth. We have 309 last hits at 24 minutes. It's a pretty alright start so far. I could probably have a bit more CS if I had remembered to stack my camps correctly, and if I hadn't made those mistakes, right? So let's say I lost out on like 5 to 10% CS because of that. So I'm bottom. I see a courier snipe. I don't have my Abyssal Blade on me yet, so I'm just going, okay, this is their entire team. I'd really rather not fight it. I just want to get out. Again, efficiency. We kill one wave, we go to the jungle. It's 25 minutes in, so we're picking up both bounty runes. That time I didn't go for theirs first because I knew they were all bot anyway. And there was no real reason for me to do that. My Abyssal Blade gets delivered. And I make a pretty big mistake here. I go on this guy because I see an opportunity for a kill, right? Let's just rewind for a second so you guys can see. So I see this guy TP. And I'm like, sweet, I got my Abyssal Blade into Manta style. It's 25 minutes in. There's like no way this guy can live through this combination. If he's alone, then he dies. Now, I didn't blink up the hill because I didn't know what path he was going to be taking. So I assumed, because I'm on the low ground, that he saw me. But I didn't know that there was a lion sitting at their tier 3, right? So this caught me off guard. I see the guy, I go in, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now, I can technically see him right now, but, you know, in the moment, I didn't see him. So I kind of missed that he was just kind of standing there. Completely caught me off guard, and I just end up dying for it. So their entire team TPs, and I end up dying. Yeah, we get 4 heroes on us. That was a mistake on my part. I should have just kept farming. And then a bunch of other people die because, you know, they ran to where I was because they wanted to try to help me, but it doesn't really do anything. So, unfortunate, right? We died. It was a mistake, a big one. Actually, the biggest mistake of the game. Especially considering I don't have buyback. It was very, very greedy for me to go for that kill. So we lose a tier 3. Now, we're alive here. Let's actually rewind so we can watch the actual base defense. Okay, so we got a song into a Meteor Hammer. The Terrorblade's over here. And the Riki dies as well. We get the kill on the Ember Spirit, so that's a pretty good chunk of gold. So I get 700 from him. I get a fair amount from the proximity gold from the other heroes. And we're back in the game. So, big mess up. Didn't end up costing us a Rax, which is good. But always blinking forward. Always going into the jungle to farm the camps between the waves. Probably could have farmed the large camp as well. Now, since they were all dead, I blinked past the tier 2 to cut the wave. This is something that you can do even if the enemy team is alive. You just have to have, you know, good map awareness. Understand where the enemy is, what can kill you, stuff like that. But so far, I haven't really done anything spectacular. In fact, after having watched the replay, I think that I could have played this a lot better. Like, yes, my farm is good, but I died in a very, very silly way. I made a couple of key mistakes, like not getting the maximum efficiency that I could have been getting. I was waiting for the Ember Spirit to show here, and then I saw that he TP'd mid, so I end up farming the camps to make sure he's not coming back, because he could have a Remnant out. And as soon as I decide that he's not back, I just start killing the wave again. So I wasted maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds there. Kind of walking back and forth, waiting to see if he would show on the lane. We're popping our Manta now. We're going to manually target it on the range creep, because the range creep is the one that allows us to push the wave the hardest. Get a nice kill on the Ember. I'm not sure why he walked to the high ground there. It was kind of silly. I think they also knew that I had Abyssal Blade at this point, so that was kind of awkward. Caught me off guard. But so far, I've died once, which has been like, what was it, about a minute that I was dead? Let's assume that you walk back to base maybe 3 or 4 times in the duration of like a 20-minute game. I think that's pretty reasonable. You know, you don't want to buy regen, you go to base a couple of times. Seems pretty normal, right? Going back to base 3 or 4 times is basically the equivalent of me dying like 3 times or 4 times. Because I'm either walking back to base and then TPing out, or I'm TPing back to base and walking out. Now both of those things I don't really want to do, because I want to be out on the map for, you know, as long as possible. But even though that one death definitely set me back a lot, and I could have been much further ahead right now, since I didn't spend any time in base, and I was ferrying out regen when I needed it, instead of just, oh, I'm gonna walk back to base real quick because I have no mana. That's a horrible habit, okay? I just want to make that common knowledge. If you are just walking back to base because you don't have mana, just buy a Clarity. If it's a laning phase, buy a couple of mangoes. It's okay. Mangoes, salves, clarities, tangos. Just buy them. It doesn't matter if it costs, you know, let's say you buy a couple of salves. What are they, 110 gold? How many creep waves do you think you miss when you walk back to base? You're gonna miss at least 2, maybe even 3. And what happens if something goes down while you're like running back to base, right? And yeah, obviously you're gonna have your shrines too, so min-maxing and time effectiveness is very much about staying out of the base as much as you can. Sounds very simple because it is very simple. People are just stubborn. They don't want to buy regen because it costs money. They want to get their next item. They want to finish their treads, or they want to get their Battle Fury at, you know, 11 minutes because that's all that matters. But the truth of all of it is that it doesn't really matter how much regen you buy if you're never basing, because it's going to pay for itself. And sometimes it's going to end up getting you a kill. Or 2 kills. And a lot of this information is directed at the 1 and 2 players. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it on supports. What you'll commonly see on supports, though, is that before the neutral nerf, they would just suicide to creeps to refill their mana, and they would come back to lane with full mana because that's when you're at your like peak lane effectiveness. I have full mana. But you can't really do that anymore because it increases your respawn time. I've seen high-level players just literally suicide to towers as supports because they just want to get mana back, and it's faster to die to the tower and respawn and TP out than it is to walk back to base. So, take that for what you will. Me personally, I don't really like the suicide method, not saying it's bad. It's probably actually better than walking back to base as a support. But it's all about how much time you're in the lane, how much time you spend in base. Like, even now, it's 37 minutes in, I'm still buying clarities. Now, if you find yourself in a lane where you can't really utilize the clarities as much, just switch up to mangoes. Mangoes are not as efficient for mana restoration versus cost, but they're instant and they can't get knocked off. So if you're really worried about pressuring your lane and stuff like that, mangoes are the ticket. If you feel like you're never going to get harassed, clarities are fine. So at this stage in the game, our net worth is 10k above the next highest person. We've basically just been following the same guidelines as before. Just always blink to a place where you're going to be able to get farm, rotate between the lane, rotate between the jungle. We're going to walk back to base here because we do not currently have a teleport available. And this is a pretty scary situation for us. We're going to lead in. Now I know I have buyback here, so I was not opposed to blinking in and fighting. Terrorblade was kind of in our base there. We're going to end up going down, I believe. Takes him quite a while to kill us, but we do end up dying. Too much CC. But I'm okay with this death because I prepared for it, right? Like ahead of time, I was saying to myself, okay, I have buyback. And because of my buyback, it allows me to come back to the fight, full health, full mana. We get a mana void on the Terrorblade, and we defend the base. Now, none of that would have happened if I didn't have buyout, and I didn't understand that by me going in, I forced the enemy team to pop everything on me. So as soon as that fight's over, we walk down mid lane, we force multiple buybacks out of the enemy team. We buy our Moon Shard, we're going to pick up the regen so we have full mana, grab a Bounty Rune, push bot lane, and I think we kill the Shrine here too. So, again, efficiency, like, we go down mid, we force buybacks, then we farm out their jungle, then we take the Bounty Rune, then we kill the Shrine. There's always like a next step and a next step and a next step. There's never any pause and waiting for, oh, what do I do now? Obviously, if you're not as familiar with playing a core role and you're not sure what you should do next, that's okay. Everything's a learning process, even for me. So when I watch this game secondhand, I notice that I did a lot of stuff wrong. Enemy team kind of goes for a bait play here. I BKB and get a quick kill on the Rikimaru. And my BKB's down right now, so I'm feeling a little bit hesitant. We see an opportunity to blink back in. I accidentally blink on the cliff here, which was unfortunate. But you can see right now, like, I'm just so farmed that the enemy team, like, just compare the net worth, right? I just have so much gold. I didn't even play that fight perfectly. I blinked on a freaking cliff. So, the reason why we're winning is not because my team fight was immaculate or anything. It was because I had so much more gold because my hero has built-in farm accelerant and I was using my time effectively. I was trying to avoid bad fights. I was making sure that I was blinking between the wave and the neutrals. I was doing basically everything in my power to stop myself from going back to base. That's it. That is literally all I did this game. So we get some kills. The Terrorblade buys back immediately. And I go for a man fight here. To be honest, I didn't know if I was going to win this. I just, you know, I went in because I was really close to having Mana Void mana.
This reminds me of the Steam Summer Sale.
So, we kill everyone. We got lots of gold. We're going to buy our bots too. We're going to push out the wave a bit. And at this stage in the game, I think we just go down mid and we kind of just end it, because they're all dead, and I know the Terrorblade and the Ember Spirit both do not have buyback. Now, if you guys didn't know, this is a live recording, so as soon as the replay analysis part of it is over, I'm actually going to take a couple of questions and we'll put them on the video just in case people are unclear about, you know, why I was doing what I was doing, or maybe I didn't explain something correctly. So hopefully if any of you guys in the comments below have any questions, they'll be answered here. But yeah, this game is donezo. We're about to throw them. Everything's looking good. So before we wrap up the video, if anyone in the chat has a question about anything pertaining to like the time management or something pertaining to the video itself, feel free to ask. We'll wait a couple of minutes and we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I suppose we can look at the other stats. So 686 creep kills, 45-minute game. Could have actually been a lot higher. I ended up fighting quite a bit this game. I think I had 22 kills. So I fought a lot. So the CS can be much, much higher than this. Maybe a few hundred higher. Maybe like 150, 200 higher. How does my strategy change if my Battle Fury is delayed? It doesn't change at all. It's the exact same. Anti-Mage is a very static hero in what he wants to do in the game. So you get your Battle Fury, regardless of whether it's like 12 minutes and 59 seconds, I think, like it was in this game, or if it's 16 minutes, you're doing the same stuff. As soon as you get the Battle Fury, you want to rotate between camps, you want to kill the lane creeps and then the jungle creeps, be efficient, get your Manta before you even think about looking at a fight, unless you are very, very clear on the limitations of your hero. But yeah, Anti-Mage doesn't really change a whole lot. How true is the answer I should have been farming when making mistakes as Anti-Mage? Most of the time it's fairly true, but that's because the hero has been so rigid for so long. The difference between having a 20-minute Manta and a 25-minute Manta can be game-breaking. So the reason why I was making a video about time management on this particular hero is because he is so important to hit those timings on. A couple of minutes late might not seem like a big deal for something like a Manta, but what happens if you die between the time that it takes you to get your Battle Fury and then the time it takes you to get your Manta? And that Manta would have otherwise saved your life. These things are all, like, insanely important. But I don't want to get too much into the analysis of the hero itself, but just know that even though this is an Anti-Mage replay, all the core concepts that I explained in this video are applicable to any core. And as long as you understand when you can fight, you can just change your timings to fit the hero that you're playing. Whether it be like Safe Lane Juggernaut, for example. I mean, that's probably a bad example. That hero's not very good right now. Terrorblade, you know, we were playing against him. Same thing. You want to hit your item timings, you want to fight. You don't really want to fight unless you have your cooldowns and your items. So all the heroes from a core position kind of fit into that niche. The only thing that really changes is what items you buy and understanding how those items impact your game. How do you approach the game in the mid game if your team can't give you the space that you need? Well, a very good core player is going to understand the map very well, be able to know where the enemies are and where they want to go. Map awareness is probably the biggest part of that, and I can't really teach you map awareness in a few sentences. It's just going to take practice. Like, you need to understand that sometimes it's okay to farm on the other side of the map. Like, for example, if all three of my lanes are pushed and I don't feel like I can show in lane, I'm going to probably farm the enemy jungle. Or I'm going to farm in some random spot on the map. And the main reason for that is, if I'm farming their jungle and they come kill me there, they're not taking a tower afterwards, right? Because they have to come to me to kill me. So sometimes the best place to farm when you don't really feel like you have any room is on the enemy side of the map. All about playing aggressive. Very, very good tactic. Alright, let's try to take maybe one more, and then we'll wrap up the video. What's my priority in terms of time management? Pushing over farming a lane, over neutrals, etc. Okay, so the lane will give you the most value pretty much every single time unless the camp is stacked. So let's say you have like a triple stack of Ancients or something. Obviously, you're going to need a Battle Fury to kill it, so you can't really do it in the early game. But usually the priority is lane, then neutrals, all the time. So as soon as I see that the creep wave shows in the lane, I'm going to go back to the lane and push it. Not just because it's more gold, but because it's going to apply pressure to the enemy team. So it's like it's a double whammy. You're getting more farm out of the lane, and you're pressuring the enemy team by shoving the lane. It's always priority number one. Everything that happens in Dota, from a movement standpoint, can be attributed to creeps. Sounds silly, but I promise you that's the case. Okay, so with those questions answered, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. We just got our YouTube channel name. It's just youtube.com/Draskell. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Just got it yesterday. If you guys could also throw a subscribe to the channel. We're almost to the 1,000 subscriber mark. Don't really actually plug it too much, but I do appreciate the support. You guys can watch me live at twitch.tv/Draskell. You can follow me on Twitter as well, DraskellDota2 with a TWO. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next time.